Hello and welcome to Friday's live stream, Explosion Ninja. Today we'll be talking about how to generate B2B leads using content marketing. Today I'm going to be joined by James. He's one of our top senior content marketing ninjas. So I'm going to introduce James just now. So James, hello, welcome to the stream.
Hello, thanks for having me.
I'm super happy to have you on the stream. We're going to be talking today about one of your most recent campaigns, well, one of your campaigns for the last 12 months. It's a great success when it comes to B2B lead gen. So love to dive into this. So we're going to do that straight away. So hi, everyone. If you're new to the stream, if you're following us on, watching us on YouTube, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on any of these future webinars. We do a subject kind of based on like today, but we also do Fridays where we do a live website review as well. So you can submit your website, we'll review them live. So do hit subscribe. You can also hit like as well, wherever you are. That really helps us to kind of boost the profile of these videos and help more businesses like your own. So yeah, again, today we're going to talk about how to increase B2B leads using content marketing. The campaign that we're going to be looking at today was a really big success. So we were helping this campaign. They do business formations, and they have kind of a couple of different types of lead generation. There's the generating the lead itself, so getting inquiries, but also converting into a sale as well. So they're going to turn those leads into somebody setting up a company with them. And this is how the leads have gone since that campaign started. So the content marketing that happened for that campaign has helped significantly to help increase those inquiries on a daily or monthly basis. The campaign started roughly about October 2019 and has continued to improve since then. And it's all off the back, again, of that content marketing. The content has been created on-site by James and off-site, the outreach and everything that James is going to go into detail with in just a moment. Let's have a look at this. So again, Mint Formations is the company that we've been helping since October 2019. They do company formation. So if you're going to create a company in the UK, you can go the long-winded, more complicated process of going through company house and stuff like that. It's actually takes you way longer, and there's so many things that you can miss out on. It's quite complicated, whereas Mint Formations are just superb at making this a streamlined process that happens quickly, no complications, could be done in a very short period of time. So I'll just explain how an Explosion Ninja campaign works, because this is the success that you see here is common across all of our campaigns, whether it be SEO or content marketing or a combination of the two. It starts off with a free marketing review. So if you're not familiar with our free marketing review, if you go to explosionninja.com/review or just go to our website, you'll be able to request a free marketing review. And then our marketing consultants will record a 15-minute video just reviewing your website, looking for opportunities to increase your traffic, to increase your leads, to increase your sales, whatever it is that the challenges that you have. And then they'll send that through to you and you can have a look and decide where to go from there. But after that, we do, once a client has come on board, we do our research stage. So we start with on-site, checking how the existing content is performing, how many opportunities there are to improve the ranking of certain pages, how to influence that with off-site work as well. Are there any off-site link opportunities as well? Then we move on to the on-site optimization, so that's improving what's already there. And then we move on to content marketing, which is James's bag. So we're going to talk about, James is going to be talking about how we create valuable backlinks. Also, we're going to be talking about creating lead generating content. So that's content that brings in the people who are ready to convert. And it's also creating traffic generating content. So getting people onto the page as well. So James, perhaps this is the point where you want to take over and drop these knowledge bombs.
Sure. Okay, so the first thing I really want to start with when we're talking about backlinks is that there is, when you're looking at B2B backlinks, there's a lot of misinformation out there. And especially if you're working in the B2B space, you're probably going to potentially even have a bad relationship at the moment with the idea of getting backlinks, because when you work and you'll have an email account, which you'll presumably be having, as we have at Explosion Ninja and across other businesses, people will basically send you spam telling you they'll get you links, they'll get you on top of Google, and it all sounds, it's a little bit like the whole PPI claims thing back in the day, where you were just kind of inundated with this idea of backlinks. Well, the idea of PPI, sorry, and kind of the backlinks kind of end up sounding that way as well. They sound like this weird sort of scammy process, and it's all too good to be true. So the thing about backlinks is there are different ways to acquire them. These ways that you kind of see through spam, you really do want to be avoiding these. But as with PPI, there was a lot of great value in the PPI claims, and there are in backlinks if you go down the right routes. And this is because backlinks are essentially almost like a badge of recognition in terms of when Google's looking at websites. So when you're trying to rank a website in search, they're looking at a bunch of different factors that help them understand what your website's about and if it's trustworthy and if they should display it at all. And backlinks are a really, really important part of that. This great analogy that I heard was that backlinks are like roads. So if you want people to come to your business, you need to have the ability for them to get there and the ability for them to find it. So if you only had one little back road back to your business and that was a backlink, then you're not going to get much traffic there because you've only got this tiny little back road. But if you had all these big, great roads that took people right past your business, you're going to get the opportunity to attract way more customers. So when considering backlinks, you want to be getting you want to be having these roads coming essentially to your business. And when you're thinking about B2B, when you're thinking about a big business, or not even a big business, but a business that's trying to attract a lot of customers, you want big roads. You want nice, good quality roads that are going to bring great traffic through to your company. And the important thing to remember there is that if you're building a good road, you're going to have to invest in it. You can't just have this cheap, easy road you've just knocked up yourself and it's all bumpy, because no one's going to want to go down that road. So what you're going to need to do, you're going to need to put time and effort and energy into creating good quality links, good quality roads that are going to help bring traffic to your website. So when we start campaigns, Explosion Ninja, we're really thinking about how we can create these great quality roads. And with Mint Formations, we were delving into their backlink profile and the backlink profile of competitors, and we were looking at ways that we could do this, successfully create these really great quality backlinks to the website to create that traffic. And one of the things we struck upon quite early on was this idea of getting backlinks from academic publications. So academic publications, we call them publications websites, they're university websites, they're college websites. These are great links to have if you can acquire them, because they come from these fantastic large websites, they're reputable sources, they are really hard to acquire that's really important. If you can get a backlink really easily, so you can post a link on Reddit, you can post it in the comment thread of a blog or something. If it's easy to get, it's not going to have much value, because the harder it is to acquire, the more trust Google can get from it, because you put effort into that and it's displaying value of that link. So we were looking at ways to get these links. And the thing that we came up with to do was to create a student competition. So one of the things you've got to remember, if you're going to work hard to get links, is you've got to create something. You've got to create some content that has a form of value to the person that's going to give you a link. You probably have received these emails in the past where people say, "Oh, I've seen your website. Would you link back to me?" There's no value there. There's no value proposition in what they're giving. They're just asking you to give them a link for absolutely no reason other than give them a link. So if we go to people and say, "Will you just give us a link?" They're not going to do it. If we go to a university website and we say, "Can we have a link?" They're not going to give us a link. So what we have to do is we have to find a way of giving them value. And we do that through content. So our content that we created was a student competition. We offered students the ability to win £1,000 towards their education or towards starting their own business. And what they had to do was they had to send us a pitch. It was a 1,000-word pitch on what their business was. And so what we created this landing page on the Mint Formations website, which outlined the competition and how they could enter. And then we approached universities saying, "Hey, we've got this competition. Would your students like to enter? Here's all the information. Here is the page. Would you like to share it with your students?" And universities did. We ended up getting, I think, 16 or 17 academic links, which I know 16 or 17 links doesn't sound like a lot. But when you think about the quality and how difficult it is, there's not many universities out there in the UK. There's a few hundred. So if we're talking about 17 universities across all of these universities, that's actually quite a high percentage. And because they're so hard to get, even if you could get 1,000 links, you could go to Fiverr, you could spend £5 and get 1,000 links from some dodgy, scammy looking page.
Yeah.
And that's going to be nothing compared to just one or two of these incredibly rare and powerful links. So we managed to get some of an example here from the London Metropolitan University, where they just promoted our blog, our landing page, and our competition. And we were able to get some amazing quality links out of that. Here's another one. Here's the winner. So this is from the I'm not going to pronounce that properly. So from this academy here. And yeah, so they promoted our content as well. And here you can see we've got a backlink, which means we've got these really strong quality backlinks through developing content that the universities actually wanted to share. Now, you don't have to, this isn't the only way that you can get quality backlinks. There's plenty of other ways to do it. At Exposure Ninja, we're really big fans of guest post outreach. So guest post outreach is when you approach a publication, usually within your niche or something that's relevant to you. So I've got an example here, which for Informations, one that we did, which was for Global Trade magazine. And we talked about important things to know about starting a business in the UK. And what you do is you can approach these publications and you can offer them editorial content as you are an expert in said industry. So for example, this is great here because Informations, they start up companies and they work with people who are trying to start businesses in the UK from overseas. So they have expertise and they know what they're talking about. So you can go to a publication, offer them this content, and they're interested in it because you're giving them your value. So when you write content for a guest post, you're going to give them value that they can then give to their readers. And in return, you get value out of being displayed on this website, and you get your backlink as well. These are, again, great backlinks to get because they come from trustworthy, good quality websites that can be quite difficult to get onto because they have editorial review processes. Again, if you don't have a review process and you just put a link on a page, it's not going to have that quality. But if you invest time and effort into creating these guest posts, then you can really develop your backlink profile.
A good rule of thumb is the harder it is to get a backlink, the better it is. Like if you can turn up and buy backlinks for a couple of quid through a vendor, through some website, some e-commerce store, like, I don't want to rib on Fiverr or anything, but like a site like that. Yeah. I mean, like if backlinks are so easy, everybody would be doing it, and they will be equally valuable. But yeah, the harder it is to get, the better it is.
Absolutely, but that doesn't also mean that you only have to get incredibly hard to get backlinks. Like there are like the BBC or the Guardian. They're massive. You've got links from there, it's going to be great, but they're very, very hard to get. Yeah. And even if you invest a lot of resources, you still might not get them. Whereas things like guest posts they're almost like a middle ground, because you can find publications like Global Trade. They're not massive, but they're pretty big. They're quality, and they're also fairly hard to get. So as long as you're investing some time into a backlink and you've kind of put thought into why it's going to be there. Another thing that's a really bad idea to do is to just find a website that looks kind of good and put a backlink there for no other reason other than it looks quite good and it's quite big. If it's not really relevant to you and there's no point in it being there other than a backlink, then it's not going to have the value that you want it to have.
Yeah. When doing a guest piece outreach, do you do a lot of consideration about the audience of the publishers you're looking to work with?
Yeah, absolutely. I think relevancy is really important, not just in terms of getting the backlink. So if you're finding a relevant publication that's like, let's say we're in a B2B industry, like setting up a business, what you want to be doing is you want to be thinking about how can you give context to Google. And you can do that by working with websites that are about starting a business. So if you go to somewhere that's like a magazine about startups and you're getting guest posts from there, then it's helpful as an indicator to Google that you are actually in that space, you're in that industry. If you're getting loads of guest posts from a website that's about travel, but you're nothing to do with travel, you're sending mixed signals to Google, which is, again, it's going to be really difficult for them to place you. And therefore, it's going to be difficult for them to give you the customers that you need to generate those leads that we're looking at. And another thing is just if you go to the right place, it's going to be easier to agree with an editor to submit some content. Like, if you are in B2B and you try and go to, I don't know, a travel website and you try and convince them that you're the right person to write for them. They're going to be like, you don't have the experience that we're looking for.
Yeah, one thing I like to do when doing outreach or doing any kind of content marketing plan or strategy is to do like a mind map and have the business in the very middle and say, okay, this business is about creating a business. What kind of offshoot ideas or topics are related to that? So it could be entrepreneurship or startup or growth, scaling, and then focus on those initial connections and think, okay, how can I relate that back, and which publishers can I work with each of those points? And then, then you can extend it further and think like, startups, I've got that idea. What connects to startups? Can I work with those publishers as well and see how we can kind of, is there a path that people normally take from those furthest edges of the mind map all the way to the center? And can I create content for that will match that, that audience is searching, or, how they find content on social and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's a really good point. You don't have to be always directly, completely relevant to like your primary product or service. You can have more broadly relevant topics that help people kind of converge on what is more important to your business.
Yeah. I'd love to know in the chat if people just tell me if you think it's hard or easy building backlinks. I'd be really curious how everyone's found building backlinks for their businesses. So just write hard or easy. I would really like to see how many of each there are.
I would love to. If someone says easy, I would love to talk to them and ask them how they do it, because I've been doing this for a long time and I've never found it easy.
Yeah, plus, I mean, like, we're always hiring. So if you think it's easy, you're more than welcome to come and join us as well.
Absolutely. Please come on board.
We've got an almost impossible here in the chat. I think, yeah, definitely. Hard. Yeah, I'm not seeing any easies yet.
Absolutely. And the thing is, it is all like budget is very relevant to this. It's very, very hard if you have no money to invest in it. It is an activity that requires financial input in terms of creating the content and time and investment spent. Even if you're not paying directly for the link itself, you are spending with the mint formations, student competition. We invested a lot of time. I ended up contacting 300-400 different email addresses throughout universities, trying to get in touch with people that could get me into the right place. So it's a lot of time. In the end, there's long-term value, as we can see from the charts, but it is an investment.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, one way or another, you're either going to invest your time or your money in creating backlinks, and if you spend just a few dollars on backlinks, you get the kind of backlink quality you expect for that. Whereas the more time you invest in it, the better quality everything gets. And that's why with this campaign, there's been a strong investment in building up high quality links, and it's paying off. And it's, as you say, the results for this have been superb. Like the inquiries and the actual end sales have been great as well. So we'll get on to that next. So was there anything further about creating valuable backlinks you wanted to cover, or would you like to now talk about creating the lead generating content that eventually leads to that conversion?
Yeah, no, I'm happy to move on to lead generation content.
I mean, I'm sure we could talk for forever about backlinks because there's so many
absolutely,
opportunities.
Yeah, it is one of those cases where I can get very granular with the technical stuff, but I think the main point is to think about the places that you can find value in your links, and to invest time and energy into getting those links. Because they are at the end of the day, they're really, really valuable business assets. You'll find that a lot of places these days will try and charge money for them. And because they understand that this is a valuable service that they're offering now, that backlinks they're really an important factor in the Google algorithms. And by having them, you really increase your chance of engaging with audiences by just being findable in search engines, which is obviously a huge, huge factor in generating those leads.
Definitely. So we're going to talk about that now. So we're going to talk about lead generating content and traffic generating content. So there's two different types. I mean, I'm sure, James, you could discuss the buyer's funnel, the people at the very top of the funnel are looking for informational content about like, oh, what do I need to know about starting a business? Whereas the people close to the end of the sales funnel are like, okay, how do I get it? Where can I register it? They want to just purchase straight away. So we're going to talk now about lead generation and traffic generation content. So I'll let you take on from here.
Right. So in terms of lead generation content, before you start looking at anything kind of more granular about your lead gen, the first thing you want to be doing is thinking about your homepage and your offer and your call to action. So these will be the things, as we've got here on the information site. This is like the above the fold content. This is the information that customers come to immediately if they found your business. And we spend a good deal of time exposure ninja early on in the campaigns especially, but also throughout the entire campaign. We are always adapting and changing and looking at how we can better improve these based on the data that we have. Because the message that you're giving your customers when they're on your website is absolutely essential for getting them through into your sales funnel, whether it's just getting them to sign up to something so you can contact them, or whether it's to get them to get into a purchase situation. You really want to be thinking about the clarity of your message, what you're offering, and if you're giving them something of value that they then want to be kind of moving ahead with. So early on in the campaign, we will always be spending time thinking about the offer. So we'll be looking at it once they land on a website. Are they able to convert immediately? Are they able to understand what your business is offering them and if it's of interest to them? So as we can see here with informations, we've created this section up here above the fold, which is telling them exactly what we offer as a service, which is we're including like price point, what we'll be doing for them, any kind of benefits or anything that's might be of interest to the customer. And then we're giving them an opportunity. This is really, really important. We're giving them an opportunity to do something, to get involved. Because if you just put something like, oh, you can get this for X money, or we do this, and then you give them no opportunity to move forward with that, a lot of people won't. A lot of people will just leave. It's incredible. I think when we have systems that will track how far people go down pages and where they look around a website. And it's usually on average about 75% of people will be on this section of the page, the above the fold section, and they will not go anywhere else on your website. They'll either click through on your lead generation button or opportunity, or they'll go. So absolutely critical to creating our lead generation content is to make sure that the section above the fold here is just as well done as possible, is as well optimized as it can be. And we'll do this by brainstorming ideas about the opportunity that we can give them, the sales proposition, the value that we can get out of the product we're offering, and then make sure that information is there and clear and it qualifies them immediately so they know this is exactly what I want, and they're jumping straight in. So you can do that with text like this. And we also have things like trust signals. So looking at up here, for example, you've got reviews straight away, so you can kind of gain a level of trustworthiness of the business. We like to use these benefits, things that make the business sound even better. So fast service, exclusive offers, so discounts, support, make it seem like it's not a business that you want to engage with. And you can go further down the page and you can offer more options, but it is really the first thing and the most essential thing is just this section here, making sure that it's really targeting your audience.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's great for people who are ready to convert. They're further down the funnel. What about lead generation or a call to action or CTA for people a little bit further up the funnel? They're a bit softer, maybe a bit colder. What kind of offering can you put out for those people?
So what we've done on this website specifically is we've gone for content that we put together, which is very low commitment in terms of getting the user involved in the business. So the content we're using here is a free downloadable. And all you do is we created this thing, and I'll show you in a second, but you click download now and it will get the email address as part of they get the download if they put the email address in. And that then brings them into your sales funnel. So then you can start sending them emails about opportunities and also just reminding them that you exist. Because if they land on your page and they're interested, but they're not quite ready yet, and they disappear and they go away, they might totally forget who you are. It's not that you don't have a product that they can use. It's just not the right time for them. They were looking, they were getting some, as Dave says, they're kind of colder at the moment, but they could get to that position if they know who you are. It's like when you used to hand out a business card. They were really great just because people would forget. They would forget who you were, what you offered. You gave them a business card and they could still find it. And they'd be like, oh yeah, that person had that. I want that. So this is a great way of doing that, is offering a piece of content which doesn't get them involved in your business. They don't buy anything. They don't have to do anything. They don't have to do anything crazy in terms of getting in touch with you or anything if they're really low, if they're really kind of far down the funnel and they're not really interested at the moment. And so this is the piece of content that we put together. It was so it's a roadmap to success, and it's literally just a graphic kind of like style of content that it's a bit instructional. It just guides you through different areas of business setup and are you ready to start your business? The idea being they can look through this and they can tick all these things off, and if they're ready at the end, they say you're ready to start a business, and then hey, why don't you come and form your business with us? And another thing we've done is very similar to that, is we've got this downloadable which is productivity hacks. So we created this as a basic idea of stick it on your fridge, print it off, stick it on your fridge. So here we have, I've tried this hack for a week and I've adopted this hack for my life. And the idea is you tick them off. So this person who downloads this uses this as a resource tool for their own business, for their own lifestyle, but it has the information branding on it. It has the information that we're giving them. So they'll remember us. They'll think about us if they ever need to come to us for any sort of services.
Yeah. So it's kind of similar to let's say like window fitters and stuff like that, or people are doing driveways. It's about getting your foot in the door. Like somebody would come to your door and knock on the door and be like, oh, I noticed that your driveway hasn't been done in a while, or your windows are a bit old and could your heating it could be better. As soon as you're in the door, you're in their mind, and if they ever think about doing a driveway or having the windows fitted, they're going to think of you first because you're the first person that they've had any kind of contact with or experience with. And then, later on, you're always kind of front of mind. So that's one thing I really like about these. I'd be really curious to know if people watching are using things like these at the top of their funnel for getting lead capture. I'd be really interested to see how many people are using these downloadables. So just tell me if you're yes or no, if you are using these on your site. And also, if you enjoyed what you've seen so far, please do make sure to hit like. It really helps to boost this video and get it seen by more businesses. And at the end of the day, we want to help as many businesses as possible. James, sorry, I cut you off there.
No, that's absolutely fine. And there's, I was just going to say, there's plenty of other things. It doesn't have to be a downloadable. You just have to think about what can you offer your customer to the point that they're not going to come in and they're going to buy and they're going to directly engage with you. Like they're not going to get on the phone and talk and go through a sales call, but you can give them something that would be of interest. So downloadables are great, but you can do things like newsletters and then you can sign them up to an email list. And it's another way of just getting them through, getting them involved and engaged in your business without actually putting them through the sales process yet.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so that's good for some lead capture. That's with the homepage or landing pages, making sure it's above the fold and that you're getting those contact details or getting people straight into the funnel as fast as possible. That even if they don't go down the page, that they're getting hit with your call to action straight away and being sold to. And then you've got that free downloadable. I expect, is that being placed in other parts of the website as well, James, or is it just on the homepage? No,
we place it in a lot of different places that it will be relevant for the audience. Particularly, we'll look at the knowledge base we created in a minute. But with that, there's different categories, and each category is going to be relevant in different ways to different customers at different point in the sales funnel. So at some point there'll be a direct call to action, join our, sign up for this, or use our primary service. And in other ones, because they'll come to this content and they won't be as ready yet, we'll then use those. So you can use these to switch up your call to actions all the time. You don't just have to place it in one place. You can just use it across your website where it's relevant.
Right, I like that a lot. So we're getting a few questions already. If you have any questions, we're going to save those to the end. So we'll do a Q&A. We're about half an hour in, so we're going to move on to, I think we covered a bit of lead generation content. Maybe if we can discuss traffic generation content, so how to get people onto the website in the first place.
Sure. So the primary things that we use for traffic generation content will be landing pages, which are direct sales pages, as well as we use knowledge bases and we use blogs. Particularly in this client, a knowledge base is, and we call it a knowledge base learning hub. This is a really great way of giving people instructional content, which will differ from a blog, which I'll kind of explain in a minute. But instructional content is is a great way of directly engaging with how a service can be used in a direct way to help the customer. So they'll land on this page. All of these pages will use keyword research, and we'll look at how we can find an audience for them. So we'll be looking to target these at organic visitors through search engines, as well as sharing through social media and other platforms. But generally, we're really targeting organic here to try and get people through when they're searching a query. When they're searching something in Google, we want to give them an answer with one of our pages. So knowledge bases are great, very instructional, informational content, which someone they want to do something, and we say, you want to do this, our product can do this, our service can do this. And that's what we use knowledge bases for. So that's a way of building traffic through queries where people are trying to complete a very specific action. And then we'll use a blog, which is similar but different to a knowledge base, because it can be a bit broader, and the subject can be, it will be related to the business, but the query that people have and what the answer they're looking for can be it doesn't have to be directly related to the product that you're selling. So it can be things. So one of the blogs we've got here, for example, is ways of avoiding being rejected by Companies House. So Mintformations offer Companies House registration. So they know exactly what you don't want to be doing when you're filing your Companies House paperwork. So we can write blogs about this, and it's not directly saying how you use our service to do that, but at the end you can then tie it into your business. But the most important point here is people are going to be wondering, this is a really big and important piece of documentation, and people are going to be wondering how to make sure they avoid mistakes. So if you can use that interest and answer that interest through your content, then you can reach a bigger audience of people by using the queries and things that they're searching into Google.
There's a phrase which an SEO that I know in the industry called Jason Barnard has coined, which is like trying to rank for the question before the question. So like the question that you might somebody starting a business may be like, what do I need to know about starting a business? But before that, there might be a far more fundamental question that they need to have answered, such as what do I need to have ready to start a business in the UK, or something like that. And I find it's great, and it's been really successful for Mintformations, where you are having those like really, really early questions answered on the website, so that people at the earliest stage are being introduced to your brand and your expertise, and they start to think, oh, this brand, this business really knows what they're talking about. Oh, I'll read another few blog posts, and you get kind of drawn in, maybe get that downloadable, and before you know it, you've read like 6 or 7 pages, and you signed it with your email address. You're getting emails into your inbox, and all from the understanding those very early questions of what bring people into that eventual conversion. And as you can see, that blog content there, it's always about what's the very earliest question, what's the informational stuff that people are searching for.
Yeah, and that kind of ties into a really important point that we look at a lot at Exposure Ninja, is we try and understand the pain points of a customer. What are they going through right now? What problems do they have? And then how can we use our content to solve that problem for them? So when you're thinking about content, keyword research and everything is really important, but it was also coming up with those ideas that matter to your customer, because you can find a keyword which is fantastic and it's got loads of interest, and you could write a great blog for it. But if it doesn't matter to the people that you want to target, that your customers care about, then there's no point in doing it for your business. So thinking about traffic building content is often about thinking about what is important to the people that you're trying to sell to.
Absolutely. So another great campaign of ours was for a HR software company, and when thinking about like who's going to buy HR software or employee performance software, that kind of thing, the people purchasing that, or the companies purchasing that, are thinking about how do we get the best out of our people? How do we help them to grow on a personal level, on a professional level? How do we be better leaders and stuff like that? So the queries before which is the best software to get for HR or for employee performance, is how to be a better leader, or what are the signs that people aren't feeling satisfied at work. They're really, really kind of really fundamental stuff. Like how do you help those people with the challenges, as you say, the pain points that they're having at the earliest possible stage, so then they think, oh yeah, that company helped me before. They really know what they're talking about. Oh, I'll have a look, or maybe I'll book a trial of a demo or a trial of their software and see how it works for our business. And before you know it, you're thinking about retention with that lead as a customer, instead of how do I get that lead into my business.
Yeah. It's a great way of thinking about your traffic building content in terms of blogs, is thinking about trying to be a thought leader in your industry. Instead of literally just thinking about figures and statistics, thinking about like how I can be of benefit to people. And if you're thinking
the most helpful person possible.
Yeah, exactly. And that way you can start building content that people really do care about, engage with. And if they're engaging with it, they're much more likely to use your business. Yeah,
absolutely. So do you have a few more examples from this website of the content that's been created, James?
I would really love to, look at, there's a page that we use for lead generation. It's not a blog, it's a landing page we created, but I think it's really important to kind of stress for businesses that when you're creating your website and when you're creating content for your website, it's great to go super granular in terms of the services you offer, and make sure you're covering all your bases in terms of having pages for what the services you offer. Because if you have a home page and you try and cover everything on there, you're not going to build as much traffic through that, because one, you've only got one page, so there's less opportunity for it to rank. But also you're going to dilute all of the other services you have. So this page was one that we built out because we found that Informations was getting a lot of interest from people who wanted to register a company in the UK but didn't live in the UK. So instead of just having that as a service listed on the homepage or listed in under a category page of like formation services, we built out a very specific page that they could then find in Google. So creating content for your website that drives traffic isn't necessarily about being thought leader, offering instructional content is great, but also just thinking about the services and how people can find those services through search engines, and making sure if they're going to put a query in, if they want to register a company in the UK and you offer that, make sure that you have a page that's dedicated to that service.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. And it all comes down to that research stage at the very beginning. So I mean, if I swap back to slides in just a second, let's have a look. So let's have a look. So with the way that our campaigns work, it starts with a free marketing review. So, our leads come to us and they get a 15-minute review of their website. We point out how they can increase their traffic, increase their leads, increase their sales. But then the next bit is to do the on-site and off-site research and the on-site optimization. We're talking about like spending some really good time researching what it is that people want, speaking to them as much as we can. So, sometimes if you get on the phone with the customers you already have, it's really helpful to understand the problems that they have that they might not have mentioned during the sales process. All of that early research is so useful for then sketching out the entire 12 months, 24 months, 3-year content creation plan, the outreach plan, the backlink plan. The research is super important, and then it comes to the content marketing. So I'd love to know if anybody's got any questions. We're going to spend a little bit of time in just a moment answering some questions. So if you do have any, drop them in the chat. If you learned something so far today, please do hit like. It's super helpful for us to make this video reach more people, help more businesses. At the end of the day, that's what we're here for. And just to recap, so we talked about how to create valuable backlinks, and this is the method that we've used for Informations to help them, and they've had a great success. And that's actually what I want to talk about now, is the results. All this research, we get fantastic results for this company. And this graphic I'll just get to in just a second. What we're seeing is an increase of inquiries, and we're getting lead generation for this website because we understand what it is that the lead wants to know about. We understand that their earliest questions are about this, and that they're not necessarily ready to convert into a sale, that they want to have a downloadable or just have a conversation. this is the result. And this is a 12-month span. So from the very beginning of the graph is when we start doing the research and then the content creation. The very end is that gradual, but always upwards inclining increase in leads. And that results in sales. So, you can see the sales here over time because of the content that's been created for traffic, because of the content that's been created for lead generation. Sales go up at the end. So we're getting those early lead queries, they're increasing. We're getting the end of the sales funnel, those sales increasing as well. And then we get traffic. So this is from Google Search Console, which will show you how much visibility your website has had over a period of time. The furthest back it goes is 16 months. I can't go all the way back to the very beginning of the campaign, but you can see here that the purple is your impressions and that the blue is the number of clicks their website has had. That everything has just been going up and up and up from the very foundation of the research in the beginning, the content creation, and the backlinks that have been created. And those backlinks are, again, so important. And then because I couldn't zoom out far enough, I couldn't really show people or show yourselves just how much the traffic has increased. So this is UK visibility, and this is from Semrush, which is one of our best tools for keyword research, backlink research, competitor research, stuff like that. And you can see the increases from like July-ish of 2019 through to where we are today have been superb. Like the website just keeps going up and up in terms of like getting to the front page of Google, which we happen to have a book about. So if you haven't read it, you can go to Amazon and search for how to get to the top of Google. And that's the best book you could possibly buy about doing so. It's been a huge success. And it all comes down to content and the right kind of backlinks. If you do want to have a look at where this graph came from Semrush, and you can go to thankyouninjas.com and you can try Semrush for free. Do a bit of research about what your competitors are doing, look at their backlinks as well, do your keyword research. If you're thinking about what kind of content do I need to have on my website, you can do your keyword research in there and get plenty of ideas and then work over those over the next 12 months. So these are the next steps that you've got forward, got in front of you. This is what you can do to improve your own B2B lead generation through content marketing. The very best thing you can do is to request a free marketing review. So go to exposureninja.com/review. You can request a review there, and our marketing consultants would do a 15-minute video in which they review your website, look at the challenges that you're having, make suggestions on how you can improve your lead generation, how you can improve your sales, how you can increase your traffic. It's really in-depth, so I'd highly recommend going there. The next best thing you can do is to get our content marketing book. So if you go into amazon.co.uk.com, wherever you are, this should be available everywhere. You can get our Ultimate Guide to Content Marketing and Digital PR. That was written by our head of content marketing and our COO, our general manager, Charlie Marchant. It's a great book, highly recommend it. And if you want to know more about like the ranking side of things, how to tackle search engine optimization, how to tackle SEO, really getting to the top of Google when you have that content, I'd recommend getting our Google book. So this is how to get to the top of Google. This is about how to rank first, the fundamentals of making your website appear for the search terms, whether they're informational, the very top of the funnel, or the commercial terms at the very end of like, I want this now, I want to buy it, or I want to download software, whatever it is that you're selling, or it could be anything. There's commercial terms. And the really best thing, again, is to request a free marketing review. So if you've read those two books, or you just would like an opinion about your website, how you could do lead gen, B2B lead gen better, or B2C, because everything we've said here applies to B2B, applies to B2C. Doesn't matter what you're doing, e-commerce, all of these fundamental principles of content marketing work across the board. So again, go to exposureninja.com/review and request a review there. So we're going to open up to a few questions and answers. So I've got a few in the chat. We're going to stick to about content marketing here. I've got a few questions. One of the first questions I've got is, how does B2B content marketing differ from B2C content marketing, James?
That is I thought about this beforehand. There's a lot of notes I've got, so I'm going to try and do this quite quickly. But basically, there are quite a few similarities in the, you want to generate leads by solving problems and creating solutions. You want to think about the issues that people have and then how you can help them with that. And then you want to do things like make sure they know the benefit of what they get out of working with you. But the big difference with B2B is generally down into the sort of cash value of the thing that you're offering. Because when you're getting into B2B, you're looking at higher value opportunities most of the time, at least. Like there's going to be sometimes going to be different, but when you're looking at B2C, you can really have products that are, like a £20 t-shirt, compared to if you're a B2B and you're offering a software solution, it's going to be a lot more expensive. So when you're thinking about working with a business, you're going to want to make sure that you're offering them lots and lots of information on your product so they can be really sure that it's the right product for them. They're going to want a lot more in terms of your value proposition before they're willing to actually purchase. So you can do that with your content. You can do things like you can have webinars. You can also offer content. You can offer call to actions that do things like free trials and look at offering things like consultations and even customer demos as well. Customer demos are great if you're in something like a software niche, because you can give them an insight before they actually buy. So thinking about how your content can promote these sorts of things is really, really important. And case studies as well. Case studies are great if you're working in B2B and showing that you've worked with other businesses and this is what you've done and this is the outcome you've had. And this is why they're super happy, and this is why you'll be super happy if you work with us as well. And just another quick note on that is when you create content for B2B as well, usually you're gonna be targeting two people in the audience, because let's say you're doing something like a HR tool, you're gonna have the HR manager or someone working in HR coming to you and looking and working out if this is the tool they want, and then you're also gonna have the CEO, CTFO, whoever, who is going to then approve the decisions that they're making. So you're going to want to make sure that you have content that addresses the pain points and the issues that the HR manager has, but also what the CEO is thinking of. So, HR might be thinking about what their employees are going to get out of it and how it's going to help them track X, Y, and Z, whereas the CEO might be thinking about productivity, budgetary expenses, that sort of thing.
Yeah, I absolutely love that approach. So thinking about how many stakeholders are involved in the final decision process of paying for software. Like a software choice typically isn't cheap, so there are a lot of people thinking about it. So if you're a team leader further down the line, you've got a stakeholder above you, you want to have that kind of background information of how to convince them that this is the right option. So if you've got that in front of you, whether that's on a blog post or some downloadable you've been given, like 10 ways to convince your CFO that you should buy this software or something like that, it could be really useful for getting that eventual buy-in. Another thing I saw with another software company was that their leads were coming to them because they'd had it suggested to them from their employees. So they figured out that it was better for them not to write content for the person making that final decision. It was to write how to solve that problem. So they were doing engineering problems, essentially. They were like, right, we'll write content that helps engineers with their issues. And then those engineers also suggest to their team leader, their line manager, that, oh, had you considered this as an option that might actually make my life easier as well as yours? So yeah, it comes back to that research period, doesn't it, James?
Absolutely does. And then that also kind of ties into how you can think about the different channels of content that you have on your website devoted. So you, if you're thinking about targeting the employees through problems they have, then you'll be looking at blog content. Whereas when the CEO is coming to look at what their employees are talking about, then they'll be going to their landing pages and the sales pages. So thinking about which content's for who as well, and then using that to direct your marketing messages.
That actually ties into another question we had. So do you have to create a buyer persona before you start with content marketing? Do you have to do that research?
You absolutely don't have to, but it's one of those things that the better understanding you have of your customers, what they want, what's going to impact them, how you can create content for them, the better you're going to be able to create content for them. So if you're someone who is really, really keyed in who your audience is, then it might not be absolutely necessary because you know exactly what they want already. But an important thing to remember there is maybe you're really keyed in, but other people on your team might not be. So by creating a buyer personas and like working out who your customers are and how you're going to target them, you can not only really focus your marketing by making sure that your content is like ticking all the boxes that they want to hear, but also if you're going to work with anyone else, or if you've got people on your team that are going to create content for you as well, that they're really clued in on what the content should be answering in terms of buyer problems.
Yeah, it certainly becomes more of a problem when you've got multiple people working on things all at the same time. When you have businesses, a handful of people, everybody wants to pitch in and everybody wants to help. It's less of a problem if you just have like one marketing manager that's working on things. But as soon as you bring in another person, a third person, you've got to have like everybody together has a perfect understanding. Otherwise, one person's writing for one person, the other person's writing for another, and there's no connection between them. And by the time it gets to sales, for example, the type of person that person one was writing for might not match what the sales team are actually looking for. So yeah, it's always better to have, I agree with you, it's always better to have a buyer persona before you start.
Cohesive strategy in content is so important, just for making sure the message matches when you're writing content. So it is a great way of just making sure that you connect the dots between everything you're doing.
Absolutely, especially when you start to take in other things into consideration, like brand positioning, language, all of that stuff. Like it really important that it's cohesive, as you say. So we understand our personas. We understand that we're writing for a specific person or group of people. How do you actually figure out what the topics that you should be writing about? What's the process there?
So the primary process that I follow and that we follow Exposure Ninja is going to be through keyword research. Keyword research is just this amazing tool that we don't really appreciate how valuable it is, because you can use research tools to find out what people want. Like in the past, if you were doing like physical marketing, like in newspapers or whatever, you would never have this kind of access to this information of knowing that this many thousands of people are searching for this and they want this answer. That is incredibly valuable data, which you can source sometimes for free using certain tools, and sometimes you pay for tools to get a bit more data out of it. But whatever you're doing, keyword research is so great, because it just tells you what people want. And with content, it's very much a case of you want to give people what they want. You don't want to build it so they will come. You want to find where they are and then give them what they need. So by using keyword research, you find out where people are going. You find out what problems they have, what they're concerned about, and then you can use that. You kind of work backwards and find if this is what they want, and then how do you create an answer for it?
We did have a question earlier in chat, which I'm just looking for now. Whilst I'm looking for that, again, if you're watching this for the first time and you're really enjoying what you've learned so far, do hit like on the underneath. So underneath James, down here somewhere. That really helps us to get this video broadcasted to more people. And at the end of the day, that's what we want to do. We want to help more businesses like your own. The question was how to decide what kind of backlinks to create. So I wonder if you have any kind of suggestions there or recommendations.
So I would say in general, the guest posts are always really good backlinks, no matter what industry you are. As long as you can find somewhere that's relevant to your industry in terms of the publications, they're always just great. We do them pretty much for any campaign that we do outreach for. We will be doing guest post backlinks. There are other opportunities. So there's things like you can do press release syndicate. You can do press releases, so you can get your press release on like news websites, for example. You can do things like product outreach. So if you've got a product you can give away, or you can give it away through reviews, you can give products away and get backlinks through that. I think one of the best things to do is look at successful competitors, people in your space already who are doing well. What are they doing? The people that are top of Google already, why are they at the top of Google? What kind of backlinks have they got? Can you get the backlinks that they do? Because if you can do that, there's a reason that they are at the top of Google. It's because what they're doing is what Google likes. So if you can go into their backlink profile and see the kind of links that they have, and you don't want to copy them directly, because then you're going to have to do exact carbon copies. But if you can replicate them and do it better, if you can get better quality in the same sort of place, then that would be the thing that I would focus on doing, would be making sure that you'll give Google what it wants to see.
Yeah, I agree. A good thing about like backlink research is, as you say, just kind of knowing what works, what kind of industries are happy to take editorial content, or you can also see like what kind of content they like to link to as well. So it's not only about like looking at whether the source of the link is from, but also the kind of page that they're linking to. So a good thing there is that you can see like, okay, people are really want to link to statistics in our industry, or they really want to link to free tools to use, or like in SEO, a lot of links go to free tools. So like an agency might have a free metadata checking like length tool, for example, like that might generate a bit of interest and get like natural backlinks. And then if you then go out there and promote that tool as well, it really helps as well to, you know, I love backlink research. It's really useful to understanding exactly what works in your industry. But also, as you say, like to know what you can do differently. Like if that's the norm, maybe we can try something different that is going to get more backlinks because it's so different than, link to my tool. If you come out there with something completely out of the blue, it could be a real big success for you. So another question we've had here is how to promote B2B content. So we've much to the point where we've only got a few minutes left to cover this one.
Okay, how to promote B2B content? It's when it comes down to promotion and it comes down to getting things seen online, it really does depend. Like it's one of those things where it depends on your industry. It depends on what the piece of content is. It depends on where it's going to be best placed to be promoted. Because if you're going to try and promote something, like you said, a tool that people would really like, that might be really helpful, you know, doing things like sharing it with websites and in places where people will be interested in using that tool. So you could try and share it with editors and then say, can you cover this? But you know, if it's not something like that, if it's, let's say it's a news story, like you've just announced that you're opening a new department or you're opening a new office or whatever, it's not going to get the same response. So when you're promoting it, it's a very vague answer because it does depend on where you are, but you just want to think about who is this content for and where are they? And if they're on social media, for example, if it's something that you can promote and you will do well on, you think it's like people on social media that you're in your follower base, they'll be interested in that. That's where you should promote it. If it's something that you could go to, for example, you could go to some influencers in your space and say, we've done X. Will you share this with your audiences? If that's a thing that they would be interested in sharing. For example, if you've got a really great new product and it's similar to something that an influencer would use, then yeah, that's a great place to go and try and get promotion for it. But it really is all based around what you are trying to promote.
Right, so we're just coming to the end now. I'd love to know in the chat if you've learned something new today. Just say yes. That'd be great, just so I can see that everybody's been getting something out of this. I've learned something today. James, there are several questions at the side here. I don't know if there are any that you would like to pick out. That we've got just 2 minutes to cover. Are there any particular ones that stand out for you?
Oh God. Okay. Right. Rush.
There are lots of questions coming through.
There was an interesting one I saw, which was, should a smaller business focus more on paid or organic traffic? And my answer would be, so organic traffic is a long-term game. When you start building organic traffic, you're going to, if you do it properly, if you create the content, if you build the links, if you do your keyword research, I've never had an instance where we've not seen results from it. But it's a long time. You can wait years to really see that impact. Whereas paid is immediate. It's right now. You can start generating leads. So it is all about, where are you currently at? Where is your ability to? Do you have an ability to wait for organic, or do you need those sales immediately? And what I would generally say is multi-channel marketing is the best way forward. If you can do paid, if you can do organic, if you can do email marketing as well, as many channels that you can do as possible, I would say do them. But if you're going to have to switch between the two, if you're going to either paid or organic, that's where your investment goes. It totally depends on where your position is. Can you wait a year before you get results? Because if you can do that, then you've got long term. Because paid, obviously, if you pay for it now, you're going to be paying for it tomorrow, and you're going to be paying for it a year's time, because it doesn't have longevity. It is instant, but it is constantly. Whereas organic is a slow burn, but once you get there, it's sustainable in terms of cost as well.
Yeah, the thing with paid is that it's fantastic for getting those early, for that increase in leads you might need for, rapid growth or, stuff like that. But the problem with it is that if you turn it off, traffic stops completely dead. So yeah, I agree with you that it's all about that kind of multi-channel approach where perhaps you start with both. You put in put the bedrock in the foundations of your search campaign, of your content marketing campaign, get that in early. So, sometimes it can take 3, 6, 12 months to really deliver. The longer you put that off, the further away the actual result is going to be. So maybe just start doing as much of the organic kind of stuff, the content creation stuff as you can, and kind of support that with paid to deliver the leads and the sales you need to keep the business running, to pay for the marketing that you're doing as well. And then, it may be that you can decrease your paid spend and increase your organic spend as those organic leads and sales start to come through. Or it may be that the multi-channel approach is working so well for you that you can run both concurrently for forever. Like a lot of websites, a lot of businesses, they run both because they're both profitable. And the end of the day, as long as they're profitable for you over the long term, there's an ROI there, then the multi-channel approach is the way to go.
And the thing about multi-channel is that it doesn't create too much reliance on any one channel in case there are shifts and changes. For example, when you have a Google update and then you have to make adjustments based on that, it can take a little while to recover if you've lost traffic. But if you've got a paid campaign going as well, then you don't need to worry about that. And likewise, if you're running only your paid, but then suddenly someone else comes into the paid market and they're doing a better job than you, or they're offering something better that you can't compete with, if you have organic, then you've still got a marketing platform there that's going to help sustain your business.
Absolutely, and that's another reason why if people who come to streams often will see us recommending email marketing so much is that Google can derank your website, Facebook can stop delivering organically, which has been the same the way for a long while. But you'll always have those emails in your mailing list. Like, people can't take those away from you. So that's another reason to kind of get that lead generation content onto your website, that people aren't just coming on, reading the content and leaving, that you're getting them into your email system and you continually speak to them as frequently as not too spammy for them, so that nobody can take those away from you. You've got that security there of you've always got somebody to speak to. And you can even use that mailing list sometimes, depending on your ad network, to actually reach those people again, by using you can do audience matching and stuff with your mailing list, all kinds of things. So organic, paid, you choose the right one for you, the stage of your marketing that you are, the stage of your business you are, your marketing goals, your business goals. Best to go multi-channel in our opinion, but definitely convert that traffic into leads if they're not converting into sales immediately. And just get as many people into your mailing list as possible. That's pretty much it.
That topic does feel like a live stream of its own, really.
Yeah, totally. So that's our hour up. In fact, we're a little bit over. Thanks everyone for coming to the stream today. James, thank you ever so much. The success you had with that campaign is clear to see. It's been really, really good. So thank you very much for sharing your knowledge with us. Thanks everyone in the chat for dropping your questions and your comments. It's great to talk with you. If you've enjoyed the video today, just drop a like down below, whether you're on YouTube. We're also streaming on Facebook and LinkedIn as well. Hit those likes, hit those reactions. It's super helpful for us, for more importantly, helping more businesses do that. And if you're not subscribed already on YouTube, do so. If you are, get somebody else to subscribe. Share the video with somebody else. You can do that instead. So again, thanks everyone, and thanks James an awful lot. Take care.
Cheers.